It's mid in the morning here on Alive 107.3. Lee with you as always. We are just days away from TNA Rebellion. It comes your way Saturday, April 11th, live on pay-per-view and TNA Plus. And after this past week's Thursday Night Impact on AMC, we know it is going to be a night of total non-stop action. TNA World Champion Mike Santana defends against Eddie Edwards. Leon Slater's X Division title on the line as he defends against Cedric Alexander of the System. And the Knockouts title will be contested between the champion NXT's Ariana Grace and former champion Lei Ying Lee. And speaking of knockouts, the knockouts tag team champions, the Elegance Brand, they'll be in action as well. Yes, Heather, M, and Ash taking on a trio of, there's no other way to describe them, legends. TNA Hall of Famer Mickie James, ODB, and my guest at this time, former Knockouts champion Taryn Terrell. Taryn, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I could not be better going into Rebellion. I'm taking it every single day, waking up in the morning and like just thinking about it and sort of manifesting all of the wonderful things, such as the Elegance Brand beatdown that's going to happen at Rebellion in Cleveland.
I'm looking forward to this. I was a huge fan when you arrived in TNA wrestling way back, and I hate to say this because it's like so long ago. This is almost a decade ago, 2014. I
No,
think it
thanks a
was.
lot. Tell everybody how old I am. I
Not
appreciate it.
not at all, not at all. I'm just saying it gives my age away a little bit as well, if you want me to be honest.
It's
But
okay. I'm very proud. I'm very proud.
uh, very excited about you being back in TNA wrestling. Very excited about seeing you on TNA TV, as I say, for the first time in almost a decade. But I have to admit, you setting foot inside a TNA ring in 2026 would not have been on my bingo card of things that were going to happen this year. We know you're back because you got a call from your friend ODB in your hometown of New Orleans a couple of weeks ago on Thursday Night Impact. But what actually happened? Was it a call? Was it a text? What did she say to get you back in TNA?
Well, we had already started with some beef in I think January on
Oh,
X, and was sort of watching the things that the Elegance brand was doing, and I just not a huge fan, of just like, hey, I'm taking this time off, but I'm not really like explaining to anybody what's happening, and I think also we have so many wrestling fans that are like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? And, so I think at that point, ODB and Mickey and I all kind of started chatting and texting and, really trying to figure out like, hey, how are we going to go about this? And we came up with a plan and we ambushed them, I think. And, and, I think it's time that they get the beat down and the ego check that they deserve at Rebellion.
it's going to be amazing. It's going to be fantastic to see. I mean, I think for a long time, the Elegance brand have been needing put in their place. And I think when you have three Knockouts legends, as we do, you are very much the team to do it. Uh, you look in phenomenal shape.
Thank
Absolutely great. Obviously, I know you've been on stage recently in a performance of Catch Me If You Can, the musical. Obviously, that has kept you in fitness, if you know where I'm going with this. But how are you for ring readiness? Because I mentioned it's been a long time since you've been in a TNA ring. How are you getting back into ring shape, and what does your week look like as we head to Rebellion this Saturday night?
So I staying in shape and eating healthy is
Oh,
just a part of my everyday life. I am always doing something physical and active, and whether that is dancing in a musical, or working out at my gym. I have a home gym that is just it's kind of like a place, like a sacred place for me.
mhm.
I just kind of go in and can lift weights, or I have assault bikes and rowers and all kinds of things. And so it's very important for me that I stay on top of my physical being. And that's even with eating. I'm super strict about, like, don't get me wrong, like I will eat. I did potentially go to Taco Bell and have tacos after sacrifice, and I was like, I deserve this taco. But for the most part, I am always, just really making sure to feed my body with lots of nutrition and protein and that sort of thing. So I feel like I'm kind of in this place of always being ready, because you
Mhm.
never know what call you're going to get, and whether that's for stunts in a film or a play that I'm going to be in or TNA. I always want to be sure that I'm always ready to go. My week is
Mm.
going to be an amazing week because I'm actually going to the beach. So I have a couple of days of sort of just relaxing.
Mm.
I'm going to put my feet in the sand, do some grounding, some meditation, really just kind of get my brain right. My body is ready, and just get my brain into the right headspace to take them down.
It's going to be superb to see. And you mentioned there also you stopped off at Taco Bell as a celebration, which is nice. I think many wrestling fans do the same after they've been to a TNA show. They'll stop off and grab something to eat on the way home and talk about everything that was going down. You mentioned Sacrifice. Obviously, that's where you came back. That's where you shocked the wrestling world. This lineup, the trio of you. Uh, but what did it feel like walking back into the TNA locker room? Because obviously, you've been there when it was TNA wrestling. You were there when it was Impact Wrestling, TNA again. What was it like, and how did the locker room respond to you when you showed up, and then when you went back through the curtain after your time on the stage?
So for me personally, I had the most immense amount of butterflies, because I felt like I got to step back in time and
Mm.
sort of relive. I mean, how incredible is that? How many times do you look back and you're like the best time of my life, and then you get to relive it? Like that doesn't happen. So I every step I took as I walked from my car into the arena was a step that was filled with appreciation for that moment, and taking it all in and looking and just sort of like, wow, okay, like this never left my heart, but never really sure if I got to experience it again. And so experiencing it again is just sort of like I get to do it on a different level, which is so much gratitude, and not ever taking it for granted. So I walk back into the locker room, and the first thing I notice is how many girls are there.
Mm.
When I was at TNA a decade ago, I think we probably had half of the amount of
Mm.
women in the locker room. So I was just sort of looking around, and I'm like this looks like what, well, I mean, not that I've ever been inside the boys' locker room, but what I imagine inside the boys' locker room would look like, just because there's so many females.
Mm.
And that was really cool to experience, and just to see that TNA is just continuing to evolve and just be on the cutting edge of wrestling. So I was really excited to see that. But a lot of the girls were very kind. I had a couple of them that said they watched me on TV when they were a kid. So, oh my God, that was an odd thing to process. Because like I don't listen, I am very proud of
Mm.
my age and the life that I've lived. I'm 41 years old. It has been very important to me, like I said, to take care of myself. And I feel there's something really special about being 41 and being
Mm.
able to walk in rather than being 30 or 25. You have a lot more life experience,
Mm.
and you also, like I said, you don't take things for granted as much, and you're not hyper focused on things. You're very like, okay, like all of these little things, they don't necessarily matter. I can look at the big picture. So I'm grateful for the wisdom, and I think I look damn good. So we're we're
No,
ready to
no,
roll.
no disagreements from me. Looked and looks still absolutely fantastic. How difficult was it to keep this secret? That you were going to be making this appearance at Sacrifice, and now obviously it's led on to Rebellion.
Not difficult at all, because I would rather keep a secret, and not
Uh,
tell anybody, and then it's so much more fun that way. So, I think, sorry, I'm looking for my water. I think that some people kind of were like, I wonder if anything would happen, because I tweeted out to Ash, and there were a few things, and so it was fun to watch people speculate but not give them anything.
TNA Wrestling, obviously a great mix of talent as you were talking about there, just looking at the locker room just now. But if you look at it right across the roster, young, hungry athletes like X Division champion Leon Slater, Bear Bronson, Mara Shadi, established names like Nick Nemeth, the Hardys, Brian Myers. could we see Taryn Terrell back on the active roster moving forward, or are you just here to help a friend out?
I think that I am in a place of my heart is open, and I am very much in I've never tried to plan my life. Like, I've
Mhm.
never said this is what it's going to be. I've certainly always said I'm not going to take no for an answer. I am like I will persevere through things. But I also believe that, God has a certain path for us.
Mhm.
And I've always, one of my prayers is that whatever doors are meant for me, you know, please allow them to open, and then I can go through. And if the door that's not meant for me, regardless of how much I would pray for something, to keep it closed. So I don't feel like it's something that I can say like without a doubt one way or the other, but my heart open to it? Do I love being in that ring? Would I absolutely and enjoy beating the Elegance brand and then continuing on and beating other people? Absolutely. But there's TNA and there's me, and there would
Mhm.
be conversations that would have to take place. So we're just gonna, be open to whatever the future holds.
Carlos, I'm just saying, make it happen, Carlos. We need Taryn on the active roster. Just saying. We
I
are talking.
appreciate that.
We are talking with former TNA Knockouts Champion Taryn Terrell. She's back in action after almost a decade away from TNA this Saturday night as part of TNA Rebellion at the Woolstein Center on the campus of Cleveland State University. You can grab your tickets right now by heading online, tnawrestling.com. And whilst you're there, get your tickets for Syracuse, New York, back-to-back TV tapings, Tuesday, April 14th, Wednesday, April 15th. You can be there in person, as I say, tnawrestling.com. We've got more to talk about right after this. You're with Med in the Morning. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Med in the Morning, getting set for a massive week of TNA Wrestling. You can catch a brand new episode of Thursday Night Impact, 2 a.m. Thursday night into Friday morning here in the UK on TNA Plus, 9 p.m. Thursday in the US on AMC, and of course on Sportsnet 360 in Canada. I am joined by Taryn Terrell. Taryn, you still with me, my friend?
I am still with you.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. That's what I like. Taryn, we are blessed. We are totally blessed right now because we have TNA Plus. Over 20 years of TNA on demand, every episode of Impact, every PLE. Three things I would like to think back to everything that's been going on in TNA. What was your most enjoyable TNA moment? What was your favorite match as a participant? And what was your favorite moment as a fan that we can go back and watch on TNA Plus?
Ooh, all right. I'm gonna start with my favorite match because that's my
Mm.
easiest one. And I will say that that would have been my ladder match with Gail Kim. A lot of people would think that maybe it would have been my last woman standing match, but it was actually my ladder match.
Mm.
I don't. When I went back through the curtains, I there was a standing ovation, which was really cool from everybody, and that meant a lot to me because as somebody who also watches wrestling, it's like, wow, like to know that that wrestlers were watching it and they approve is like probably one of the coolest things. Having peers say like that was awesome was just really neat. It also it also turned out I was pregnant during that match, and I had no idea,
Right,
because
okay.
it was very, very early on, like before you would ever know you were pregnant.
Mm.
So it's not like I would have. I know, controversial. It's not like I would have gone and wrestled while I was pregnant. It
No,
was just
no.
very, very early on. So I would have had no ability to know that I was pregnant at that moment. So the really cool thing though is that I always think about that my daughter was with me in that match.
That's nice.
Uh,
That's really nice.
yeah, so that's actually like probably sounds completely insane, but it was really cool. And then I think like a week later is when I found out I was pregnant, and I was like, oh my god, this my baby's been in a ladder match. Like, what? This is wild. But all is good. She's super healthy, and she's a performer herself. She is an actor, a theater actor, and she lives to perform. So I guess that ladder match really set her up set her up for that. My favorite TNA moment. Whew, I think that this is also interesting because
Mm.
there are moments of being in the ring, and those sort of all belong in this category together. Then there's moments of being backstage, and they are categorized together in my brain. This is how it
Mm,
works. And then the moments of like the traveling. So I have always felt like it was very important to enjoy the places that we traveled to.
mm,
So like for example, we're going to Cleveland for Rebellion. I am not going to just sit in the hotel. I am going to go out and take in the air and go enjoy a coffee shop or something unique to that area. So that's always been, I think, it's hard to say my favorite moment, just because my favorite moments are the ones of really being able to enjoy the areas that we are, and having fan interactions, in each of those places. So those are the ones that I feel like are really special, and I feel really grateful to have been able to do that all
mm.
around the world. Um, and then my favorite match that I have ever watched, um, that is hard. That is, I mean, the amount of matches that I've watched. My gosh, that you're putting me on the spot here.
Mm. That's what I do. I ask the hard questions. I ask the
That
question that nobody else will.
that is. Can it be my match?
Of
No,
course it
I wouldn't
can.
want
Of
to.
course it can.
No, 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 no. Yeah, it's so hard. It's so every match is so different,
Oh,
and brings different elements. I will say my favorite matches are the ones that you are dying for something to happen
mm,
at the end of it. Like they they are slower paced. It's not just like do like X divisions. They're really fun to
yeah.
watch. I love them. Don't get me wrong. But I also like my personal favorites are the ones that are really they really take their time to get to where they're going. Yeah, I don't know that I can pick one out just off the top of my head. Obviously, anything Gail Kim, awesome song. As far as female. Oh, I have to say, I'm glad that I'm saying this, because as I'm thinking, I will say, as of recently,
Mm.
was the Dudley Boys and the Hardys.
Oh, amazing.
Sobbing, sobbing. And I'm like, and that's the sort of match, obviously I don't want to see people like retiring, but that's the sort of match that you are in it with your whole heart and soul, like watching it, and as a fan, and just like, knowing all of the things that these boys and men have put their bodies through, and to get to where they are. Those are the matches for me that I will never stop thinking about.
It was a truly amazing match. If you haven't already seen it, you can head on over to TNA Plus right now. Obviously, it took place at Bound for Glory last year in Boston, and TNA Plus is available right now. That match to all TNA level subscribers. Head on over watch.tnawrestling.com for all the details. Time is rapidly against us, but there's one last thing I'd like to do with you if you're up for this, and that is play a round of the name game. I have 5 names in front of me of TNA superstars, and I'd like to know the first thing that jumps into your head when you hear the following names. Are you up for this?
Let's do it.
Okay, name number 1, Awesome Kong.
Awesome.
Uh,
Totally.
name number 2, Tara.
Psycho.
Good one. Name number 3, Velvet Sky.
A sexy AF.
You will love that when we retweet that. All right, name number 4. I don't think I've ever asked anyone this name before, so let's see your reaction. Name number 4, Brooke Hogan.
Ooh. Smart.
And name number
Very smart
5.
girl.
Name number 5, the one we ask absolutely everybody. I want to get your reaction when I ask you about the voice of TNA wrestling, Mr. Smooth, Tom Hannifin.
Smooth.
He is, he is. There's no other way to describe him. No other way to describe him. That is the name game with Taryn Terrell. She's back in action this Saturday night as part of TNA Rebellion. Catch it live on pay-per-view and TNA Plus. For all information, head on over to tnawrestling.com. You can also find out how to grab your hands on tickets for that and TNA's tapings in Syracuse, New York, April 14th and April 15th. Taryn, thank you so very much for taking the time. We look forward to seeing you kick ass this week
Yes.
at Rebellion. Thank you.
Thank you.